What's up, y'all? This is Aster from Crypto and Down, back again for a quick overview of DeFi token landscape. So I created a watch list for Crypto and Down where we're monitoring a few different DeFi protocols and platforms. Chose them somewhat at randomly, but with the idea of looking at different sectors to get a sense of how are stablecoins moving, and as the volatility in the world impacts the financial markets, what are some of the winners that we can pick out in the DeFi landscape, the decentralized finance aspect? So tokens, platforms that are associated with you being able to do things without, what you could say, like a third-party institution. There are institutions involved and government players throughout these different protocols and platforms, but by looking at these different sectors as well as the different tokens, we can maybe start to see long-term to short-term what is performing well, where stablecoins are moving, and where are legacy finance and institutional players moving their money as well. So to give you a sense of the tokens that we tracked and how we categorize them, so we took a look at DeFi lending protocols, yield tokenization, Perps. So those were perpetuals on decentralized exchanges, as well as derivatives. So you can see the different tokens we looked at for DeFi lending protocols were Aave, Morpho, Liquity, to name a few. Yield tokenization were Pendle, and then we took a look at Aster, Jupiter. Those are some of the top two decentralized exchanges when it comes to perpetuals, along with other different functionality. Let's take a look at some other sectors that we looked at. We looked at cross-chain infrastructure, real-world assets, chain-specific, DeFi, and social. So there is a lot of, you could say, cross-pollinations between what some of these different tokens enable and protocols allow for people to do. So there will be a few that you can see will stick out as we go through this report. LayerZero will be one, Centrifuge as well. That's over on the Tron blockchain. But as we look at some of the top stories, maybe took a sort of a quick deep dive into a particular token that comes from cross-chain infrastructure, we can start to see what's performing overall from if we zoomed out and looked at these protocols, which sectors are performing well. Maybe there are a few tokens performing well in a particular sector. I can't cover every single DeFi protocol that's out there, but if we can cover a few tokens from a mixture of these different sectors, maybe we can tell where the money's moving long term. So this report is going to recap the month of March and probably look back the past 3 months of this year of 2026, early 2026, looking at January, February, and March. But a good price performance overview, you can see just some things to highlight and note and keep in your mind as we go through this. And if you want to see the full report, I'll drop a link in the description as well, where you can go over and find it at our LinkedIn page. And I'll throw this up on the website if I have some time. The longer term momentum to the upside are cross-chain. So those are different protocols that allow money to be moved across different blockchains. We'll see there are a few DeFi ones that are utilized for decentralized finance that encompass lending, yield, getting yield, and things like that as well. And there are a lot of established ones that aren't necessarily performing as well in that long-term 90 to 30 days time frame, but still are some of the bigger players when it comes to the amount of volume being passed through them. The smaller names you'll see as well are probably MYX, Finance, and Towns. Those aren't performing as well. Taking a look at that 7-day and 30-day standout, so let's focus on the 7-day highlights. We have Stargate, Finance, Centrifuge. Those were performing pretty well over the past week, up 37 and 25% respectively. River had a slight sharp pullback, around 35% week over week, but as you'll see as we move forward, pretty strong performance over the past 30 to 90 days. If we want to take a look at some of our top standouts, losers and winners from 30 days. Stargate Finance, performed well 7 days. Also for the past 30 days as well. Centrifuge, LayerZero. The negative ones, we have Aave down as well as Pendle. Now, if we wanted to zoom out to 90 days, River, strong performer, up around over 200% for the past 90 days. LayerZero, so you're starting to see a couple of names pop up here for those longer time frames, even for those week-over-week time frames as well. And what we can see here, even from Stargate to Morpho, and then if we want to take a look at what's not performing as well, Aave, MYX Finance, what we can kind of see from the watch list that we created, and I'll drop a link in the description to the watch list as well if you wanted to take a look at that and read up on these different tokens and protocols. Cross-chain performance and real-world asset tokens have the strongest sustained gains over a period of 90 to 30 days. There could be a lot of reasons, but I think one of the main reasons is there have a lot of interest from institutional players in the legacy finance. So whether those are people like Goldman Sachs, or for example, LayerZero is one of the places where the Wyoming Commission and state launched their state stablecoin, their dollar stablecoin as well. Those are some strong narratives and partnerships I think that is leading to these having a good price performance through the beginning of this year. I'm not going to focus on all of the tokens for an individual token analysis. If you want to learn more, you can definitely check out this report, but we're going to just highlight LayerZero first and foremost. So LayerZero falls in that cross-chain infrastructure space. So it offers interoperability across different blockchains. So that is the goal of this particular blockchain. They have had some partnerships with the Canton Network. Canton Network is a privacy blockchain that is used for institutional players. So when you think of real-world assets having to do with digital dollars, tokenized securities, like tokenized stocks and bonds, or tokenized US treasuries, those are probably the biggest real-world assets that are going to be brought on chain, or the easiest ones now to bring on chain versus something like real estate. You can also see Grayscale highlighted that LayerZero was one of their top performers over the Q1 of 2026, and LayerZero is getting investment from the people like Citadel and ARK, some of these big investment funds as well. So check out some of these stories if you wanted to see what's happening on that end. River also is one of those chain abstraction stablecoin DeFi protocols, so it falls under the cross-chain infrastructure as well. So they have had a little bit of a short-term volatility week over week, but when it comes to 90 days, it's a strong performer, up to over 200% and even up 22% in the past 3 days. So there is some unlock pressure from sales, so like they're gonna unlock tokens and there may be some sell pressure there, but they've had investment from Justin Sun, one of the inventors and founders of the Tron blockchain. So River, we can see, is one of those that falls into that cross-chain sector that is having a strong performance. Let's take a look at another one here, Centrifuge. All right, what can we figure out from Centrifuge? So Centrifuge is another real-world asset blockchain. They joined the Ethereum Economic Zone Alliance. Basically the idea of how can we work towards allowing these different protocols to be interoperable across different blockchains. They have a LayerZero partnership, and also too they were listed on Binance. So you can see from the past 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, all green, up. And their token is coming in around 16 cents as of right now, as of the recording of this video. So let's look at a longer time frame, 90 days, to see what are our strong leaders. We see River, Stargate Finance are pretty strong, so they're very dominant. LayerZero is still gaining. Centrifuge and Just and Morpho, these fall. You could say there's cross-pollination across these different protocols of what they can enable. So a lot of them can enable real-world assets. They allow you lending, you to gain yield from different assets, but overall we can see strong performance in cross-chain protocols as well as a few select ones that offer lending and yield, these different decentralized finance protocols. So multi-chain narratives going strong, and there's an institutional adoption in different partnerships. Goldman Sachs, we kind of highlighted with ARK Investments, Grayscales, these tokens being invested in by different ETF platforms. I think one of the key takeaways that we can see is that there's institutional momentum. Lending, though, from some particular protocols highlighted throughout this article are facing headwinds, you could say, and are mostly negative in that 30 to 90 day time frame. I don't know what this means. Maybe there is interest in newer, shinier protocols that are out there, so that's where some of the money is flowing versus some of the ones that have been more established that are in this space. So that's not necessarily something to say that, you know, lending protocols are all going to be down. It just may be that right now people are interested in just a few select ones, maybe because they're new, or maybe they allow different ways for people to move their stable coins or their tokenized securities across chain as well. So you'll see a lot of the names will become familiar to you, and we'll probably continue to see a strong performance from Stargate, River, LayerZero, and from Centrifuge overall. There's a little bit more in this report if you want to take a look at some of the individual tokens, read about how they're performing, see some top stories that we found. Take a look at this. I'll drop a link in the description as well as link it to our LinkedIn page.